Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with all the live Flat Earth debates. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now we are joined by Wiggles, Unorthodox, The Plain Truth, Sleeping Warrior, Jose JG Soundly Slayer Gonzalez, Flatten Earth, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Woo!
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Right, so the last show run over quite a bit, so I will dispense with housekeeping just because I know that Wiggles and maybe Unorthodox are very keen to present stuff. So, Wiggles, the mic's all yours.
Oh, okay, well, we were just talking then about the bottom of the building being obstructed. I have a GIF of that on my screen just to probably refresh people on what it is we're talking about.
Sure, so we've got one that's closer, obviously with a much wider angle, and one that's further with a much narrower angle, correct?
Yeah, and we can't seem to agree on why the bottom of the building is why we can't see the bottom of the building.
Oh, we can seem to agree, it's just that you won't agree.
No, you want to assert that it's Earth curve that's doing this, and we say no. In the same way as the example given on the last show, if you take a 6-foot wall far enough, it will become too small to see. That's not to say that if you then build another 100 stories on top of that 6-foot wall, the bottom 6 foot suddenly becomes visible, because it doesn't.
Yeah, so I would ask, why is it that the top 6 feet doesn't get obstructed when the building
because it's got a bigger
away?
angle, for crying out loud. So the angle to the top is bigger than the angle to the bottom. So let's pretend for a moment that we build a 6-foot wall. I don't mind doing this 10 times with you, Wiggles. And then we get far enough away so that the 6-foot wall is too small to see. It cannot be seen. Then you build on top of it. You can still see the stuff on top because it's bigger, has a wider angle. But the bottom 6 foot that disappeared because of its angular size being too small has still gone, effectively meaning the bottom of the building looks like it's cut off, just like you're presenting, Wiggles.
Actually, there's another explanation for what we in the actual footage that Wiggles got on screen, not the paint thing he's got now, but the actual footage. There's evidence of a Fata Brumosa mirage. Are you familiar with what one of them is, Wiggles?
Fata, what do you call it? A mirage?
A Fata Brumosa mirage.
Fata Brumosa, I haven't heard that of.
You might want to go and look it up.
Yeah,
if you look,
Wiggles seems to have a deficiency in terms of the terminology that we're using. He never knows what we bring up.
Yeah, do you want to bring up? Just type into Google Wiggles Fata Brumosa.
Okay.
BRUM. Correct. Now read what it says.
Apparent fog in the distance where no fog actually exists.
Not. Seems to be a really vague. There's better ones.
This is a meteorology glossary.
Look up other alternative ones because there's better ones than that. It's more precise. It gives you an explanation for what's causing it. Oh, not in that one. Hang on. So this mirage is most complex of all. Let's have a look. Just very quickly reading this on the fly, so just give me a couple of seconds. I'm looking for the explanation for where it describes what's going on. Not Fata Morgana. That's talking about Morgana. So scroll down a bit. Keep going down.
Yeah, that's as far as it goes.
You'll have to try a different one. I couldn't see what the explanation was on that one. Let me see if I can find one. Fata Bramosa. Look for the explanation for Fata Bramosa Mirage.
I just stopped screen sharing there.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find a definition for it. Where have they all gone? Hang on a sec. There used to be loads on here.
Listen, we're not that technical, Tony. Just tell us what it is.
It's where the water mirrors on top of itself. So rather than the land mirroring below the horizon and giving you that inferior mirage, it's where the water reflects above itself and gives you basically a mirage above the horizon. And you can generally tell when there's evidence of it that supports the assertion that there's a Bramosa, when there's a band of water that's a different shade to the water that's around it. Now, in the photo that was just presented by Wiggles, if you can bring it back up, it would be really obvious to see it. It's got.
Okay.
Can you see that band of water that's basically everything above the white line that you've got drawn? Can you see that band of water doesn't look the same as the rest of the water because it looks soft, different texture. It looks like it's it looks like it's being miraged from underneath. It looks like it's a reflection of what's underneath it. And the real horizon is the hard horizon that you see where the white line is, just above your white line. That would explain why the bottom of the buildings is all dropped. Because what I'm saying is that's a Fata Bramosa mirage.
Okay, well, to me, the water on the top and the water on the bottom looks the same. I think it's all actual the ocean that we are looking at there. That's my interpretation. So
you don't see where you got the white line that's flashing on the screen. Everything above that, you don't see a disparity between the water that's in the below it and the line above it. You think they're the same, do you?
Yeah, they look the same to me.
Okay, well, that's the evidence of a Fata Bramosa mirage. So if you consider a Fata Bramosa and then come back once you've read about it and realized what they're telling you it is, then you'll realize that what you're pointing out there is literally evidence of a mirage.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective on it.
Well, it's just the science, dude.
But so, what that would imply, though, that there's always a Fata Bramosa mirage present, because every time we look at distant buildings,
wrong.
The bottom is always
wrong. Sorry, just to interrupt. Sorry, 1 second. Excuse me. No, somebody posted a video in the comment section of yesterday's debate. Feel free to go and check the comment section of debate 691 for the comment where somebody takes the exact same distance photography and seems to get all of it. So that's just a lie. Either you've not researched whether or not people can get that exact same skyline. It was a videographer with quite a number of views on it. A lady, I don't know her name off the top of my head.
Jenniferdo.
Yes, Jenniferdo. So, have you not seen that, Wiggles?
I haven't seen that comment. No, I mean,
not the comment. The Jenniferdo video of the same skyline from about the same distance.
Yeah, because that would to me actually prove that the Earth is not round. Is if we could take a picture of like that's my test, right? Like that's like if I see something that I shouldn't be able to see, then that proves that the Earth is not round. I'm always waiting for some sort of picture like that where it's like you're seeing like something that's like 100 miles away, but like it's only 10 feet above sea level and you can see it. That would be like proof that the Earth is not round. And I'm always wondering. I've always been waiting for that picture, like an evidence. And I've never seen one. But so you're saying there's one in the comments section of video 691.
Well, that would be pretty easy to do. They would just have to go up higher. So you'd have to kind of verify the level of the photography to prove that it was actually not higher.
I gotta get out of here. Thank you guys for the time. I gotta spend time over here in the house. Thank you. I
Jose.
appreciate it. I'll jump in another day.
Bye, Jose.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Take care.
You know that picture that you had, Wiggles.
Yeah, CN Tower. Yeah.
You know that layer of like different coloured water that you said you couldn't really see, and I said, well, it's called a Fata Brumosa.
Yeah.
I'd like to share something in context, and Nathan can perhaps present my screen to give you an idea of what it is that this is referencing. If I share my screens, this is going to be really interesting because this is basically accepted as far as I can tell. Don't shoot me. I'm just passing on the message that the Fata Brumosa mirage is actually what was the cause of the Titanic crashing. Not so much crashing, but failing to take evasive action to avoid the crash. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. What caused the Titanic disaster?
Yeah. What was the cause of the Titanic disaster? On the face of it, it's a really easy answer. Could crash with an iceberg. But what caused the Titanic to collide with a huge white iceberg on a completely clear starlit night? Captain was not drunk. Her watch officers were keeping a sharp lookout, and she was travelling as fast as was normal in clear weather, even an ice region at full speed. Her lookouts were scanning the horizon with their naked eyes, which is the best way to spot an iceberg at night. And the Titanic responded well to her helm, turning swiftly as a highly successful twin sister, the Olympic, blah, blah, blah. No expense was spared. I said, here we go. Might have to do the word Fata on this. Bear with me. Search for Fata. There we go. So, the air in the Titanic's crash site had been heated by the warm Gulf Stream, which had recently been replaced by the freezing Labrador current flowing into the area, blah, 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 and cooling the air from the bottom up. This had the effect of trapping cold air below warmer air, an unusual state of the atmosphere known as a thermal inversion. In these conditions, the colder, denser air near the surface sea acts as a lens, bending the light sharply downwards around the curvature of the Earth, making it impossible to judge distances accurately, and causing unusual optic effects such as Fata Morgana or mirage and Fata Brumosa or fairy fog, an apparent fog in the distance where no fog actually exists. Now, that's what you're seeing with that layer that you've got above yours is that fairy fog. Now, I know that this says it goes around the curvature of the Earth, but if light bends sharply downwards, it ain't going to bend. Yeah, you can argue that it's going to bend over the curve of the Earth, but it's a begging the question, affirming the consequent form of logical fallacy. You've got to show that it is curved. But what you can say is that if there's a layer of fairy fog, which I call dirty air, you've heard me say that loads, right? If there's a layer of apparent fog in the distance where no fog actually exists, there's evidence of that in your picture. So you can dismiss it and deny it if you wish, but there is evidence of this fairy fog, dirty air, Fata Brumosa. Call it what you will, describe it how you want, but there is evidence of something else on top of the horizon there that appears to be blocking out the buildings. So although you can claim it's the curvature of the Earth if you wish, well, I'm going to say no, there's actually actual evidence of fairy fog, dirty air, Fata Brumosa.
Okay, but it does say though that it's an unusual condition, right? It's like it doesn't happen all the time.
Well, we know through Jenniferado that we can see that the other shore of it from as far away as what she was, or however far away that was, and it defies completely the curvature of the Earth.
So we've got this on. Sorry to interrupt, Anthony. So we've got this on screen right now. See those wiggles?
So that's the answer to your question. Where is the Rogers Centre? There it is on screen right now. And if you play the rest of the clip, she bends down to her feet, shows her feet tapping in the water. So you can see that how high she is off the water. She's about 5 foot something. So if the Rogers Centre is curved by the curvature of the Earth, then it also stands that it should be curved by the curvature of the Earth on yours too. But there is evidence of something else in your picture that does appear to be obstructing the bottom of the buildings. But from your perspective, any obstruction's curved, right? No. There is evidence of a Brumosa mirage. Sorry.
Well, I can't help but notice that we can't see the whole CN Tower in this picture, if I might explain why, because I forget the name of it, that restaurant part, like the part with like the white and the glass and the if you know what I'm talking about, right? That like that cylindrical part that sticks out in the middle.
Center was right.
The what?
Did you ask where was the Rogers Center?
No, I'm talking about like on the CN Tower. You see like that, like the kind of the big glass part in the middle, like the part that's got a wider radius.
Sorry, are you saying that things can disappear from the bottom up again? Because we've already gone through this in terms of the 6-foot wall that can disappear that you can build on top of. This is nearly 31 miles away. So you're saying a little bit's disappeared from the bottom? Yeah, it's too small to see, Wiggles. But it doesn't look the same as the picture you presented, does it?
Oh, it does look the same. But
really? Well, we seem to have a completely extra building. This Rogers Center thing that was missing from yours. That you had a great big blink test from something that was a considerably closer distance.
Do you want to bring it back up, Wiggles? Let's
have a little compare.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Screen share.
The Rogers Center, I believe, is the white building to the left, the big, like...
So, this white smudgy building, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so.
This is 32 miles. This is 31 miles. And it seems to be there. So... Given that this has a clear effect of the diffraction limit running through the entire image, i.e. it is reflecting itself down upon itself in that most limited of angle, I'm going to assert that the stuff at the bottom of this angle, this picture on the horizon, is simply too small to see. That's why you don't have it. That's why you have the effect that you see at the diffraction limit.
And I'm going to assert that although I see Nathan's point, I see that there's stronger evidence for the Fata Brumosa mirage. Either way, it's explaining what we see, which is not necessarily, evidently, the curvature of the Earth.
Sure, I mean, you might be able to call what Wiggles presented for Fata Brumosa, but this, which is, what, 1.2 miles, slightly under, less than let's call it a mile, less in distance, and we do see the bottoms of the stuff that you said was obscured by Earth curve.
Yeah, well, we can't see the whole CN Tower in that.
Oh, so we're going to strawman us again. You've said that the stuff at the bottom was obscured by Earth curve. Here's a similar distance. Yes, it's ever so slightly closer, about a mile closer. And we do see what was obscured on your pictures.
No, you don't. Do you see like the restaurant in the middle of the CN Tower there? The big part that has the large...
I've been to the CN Tower, but I don't know what the restaurant looks like at the bottom. And I've gone through this at the beginning of the show. Eventually, a 6-foot wall's too small to see.
But maybe, I'll just... oh, gosh.
Well, maybe you'd like to run the maths. Yeah? Tell me how high that restaurant is off the deck.
It's about a third of the way up, I know.
Well, give it me in feet. And then go away, calculate the angular size, presumably this is taken with a P900, calculate the diffraction limit of the P900, and tell me if the angular size of that restaurant is big enough to see at this distance. I would assert probably not. Eventually, stuff gets too small to see.
Yeah, I'm trying to... Yeah, I'm
What, screwed? We know.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm doing a lot of and on while I set this up. I'm gonna screen share now. I just put the two images, like, can you see my screen now?
Yeah. Are these taken at the same distance or totally different distances?
Like, this picture on the right here is the whole CN Tower, like the whole thing, all 1,800 feet of it.
Well, so the one on the right is taken from closer, correct?
Well, yeah, but
So
the
answer
point
me
is,
this,
it's the whole
Wiggles.
CN Tower.
Why does it look like it's been squashed? Why does the one on the left look squashed? Like it's considerably fatter and less tall. It's like really fat at the bottom, you know?
Yeah, I know, I just like kind of did this with it, like it's just stretching the image, but the point is that this bulge in the middle is like, in this picture, the bulge is halfway up the CN Tower. In this one, it's about 2/3 of the way up.
Yeah, that's because it's a different angle of view. We went through this yesterday, did we not? So you've got a completely different angle of view to it. If you stand underneath the tower, like completely at the bottom, at the base of it, do you think it will be different to if you look at it from a mile away, as you crane your neck to look at the top of it? So to look at the top of it from right next to it, you've got to look up, haven't you, Wiggles? Yeah, you get away from it far, and suddenly you don't have to crane your neck anymore to see the top of it. That's an angular relationship based on distance. So the same thing happens as you get further away, Wiggles. We definitely went through this yesterday with you just choosing to ignore it all, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah, but my point was just that we couldn't see the whole CN Tower, and I forget her name, whoever took that that video that you're screen sharing right now, like we can't see
we
the
know
whole
your
CN
point.
Tower.
You can't. Yeah, is your point that we can't see the bottom of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you not understand that this will be about the 5th time today that something can get too small to see, Wiggles? Like a 6-foot wall, for example. Do you not understand that?
Oh yeah, I agree that like if something is a certain size and it just goes over you, eventually it will shrink and disappear.
Right. So like the people at 31 miles, you wouldn't expect to see a person at 31 miles, right? They're too small, right?
Yeah. So
no, not yes. So just concede. Yeah, person's too small to see at 31 miles. Their angle's too small. But coincidentally,
yes.
If they're standing by a wall of a building, that'll also have the same angular size. That bottom section, not the building on top of it, which you can still see because it's bigger, but the bottom section of it, that's still gone like the guy's gone. I mean, I took Jose through this for about 40 minutes. Do I have to do the same with you because this doesn't compute, right? This doesn't equal globe proof, so you just won't process it, right, Wiggles?
Yeah, well, just imagine like you have the bottom 6-foot guy. We agree that we can't see the bottom the 6-foot guy, right? If he's 100 miles away or whatever, right?
We're about 31 miles away, like the picture we've got on screen.
Sure. So now, say we stack another.
Sorry,
6-foot
what about
person.
no? What about the picture on screen? Can I see a man at this distance?
Oh no, you can't. No.
Oh right. So you're saying that if there was a guy stood at the shore, I wouldn't see him, he'd be too small. But wouldn't that imply that the wall behind him's also too small to see? Effectively meaning that the bottom of the building can't be seen. Isn't that what that implies, Wiggles? I'll tell you for damn sure, it doesn't just imply it, it's a fact. If something's too small of an angle, you won't see it. That includes the bottoms of buildings and boats. So they do disappear bottom first because of angular sizes.
But Nathan, perhaps think of this like so.
Don't ask me to think about something. Just concede, as you seem to be halfway there to doing, that you can't see a guy at this distance because he's too small. Therefore, the wall that he's standing by is the same. It's too small, the angle to the wall. So gone from bottom, right, Wiggles?
Yeah. So suppose you had a second
shut
6-foot.
You've conceded. I will move on. You will shut your stupid globe head mouth while I explain. So yes. 6 foot can disappear at a distance of 31 miles because it's too small. Now you're saying the bottom of the building's gone because of earth curve. Now you have just conceded that the bottom 6 foot can disappear because of distance and not earth curve, right, Wiggles?
We got to be careful when we're talking about this.
Yeah, we've got to be careful that we don't accidentally screw your religious belief. We don't have to be careful. Fact. I'll say it again. What is it? 10th time. The bottom of this building has too small of an angle to resolve for the camera. Therefore, it's gone. And it appears like the bottom of the building is cut off from bottom up due to the limited angle to the bottom of the building.
But a second 6-foot man standing on the shoulders of the first man would also be too small to see.
Maybe. So you're saying that you can have more than 6 foot obstructed from bottom up. Wow. So I can't believe my luck. So you're conceding now that we could have a 12-foot wall that was gone at this distance.
Yeah, and then so
no, don't say it so quickly, Wiggles. Say it nice and slow. Yes, Nathan, we could have 12 foot of obstruction at this distance. So you're saying, hold on, Wiggles. You're telling me that the bottom 12 foot of this building could be gone to the angle? Wow, that's a conclusion that gives you an answer to why things disappear from bottom up.
And then a third 6-foot man would be too small to see at this distance. So let's put him on the shoulders of the second guy.
Wow!
So now we have
amazing.
three.
So far, this is incredible. You're telling me we've got 18 foot of bottom-up obstruction without even mentioning earth curve, purely from the angle. Wow, Wiggles, you're doing a really great job.
Now let's take a fourth 6-foot man that you can't see at that distance and put him on the shoulders of the third person.
Yeah.
So we can't see, and all those 4 people are too small to see, so we can't see any of those people.
Yeah. Then if you stack 100 people, you might actually get to see them. They might have a wide enough angle. Like this building, for example.
Yes, but each person is invisible.
Oh, really?
So the whole thing should be invisible,
let's just change it to
your
bricks
logic.
then. Let's just change it from people to bricks. So you build a 6-foot wall. Yeah? A nice, wide 6-foot wall. And you can't see it at this distance. Same as the 6-foot man, Wiggles. Correct?
Yeah, sure.
Right. So then we can do the same as your man example. We can build a 12-foot wall. And it still won't be seen because its angle's too small. Right, Wiggles?
Yeah.
So we could build an 18-foot wall. And it's still got too small an angle to see. Correct, Wiggles?
Yeah, well...
Right,
this
shut up.
6 feet.
Shut up. Now look at that building. Yeah? That's just made of bricks, like a wall. But we can see it. Even though the bottom 18 foot that you've already conceded has vanished, can't be seen. Yes, Nathan. Angular relationships, not earth curve. Not
Superb
silence,
impression,
Wiggles.
superb.
The demolition of your religion shouldn't be met with silence. It should be met with gasps. Yes! The angle can cause things to disappear bottom first.
But why doesn't the top, like the bottom 400 feet of the tower are, in the picture you're showing, the bottom 400 feet are not visible?
Yeah, we can scale it up, Wiggles. So we've got 18 feet out of you. So you do concede that the angle can cause the bottom of it to disappear. The further you go, the bigger that effect. And the more of the bottom you lose.
Yes, but why is it that the top 200 feet are not obstructed?
Because it's a bigger angle.
The
Man,
angle's
you
about
are
the same,
brain
though.
dead.
It's gonna
You
drop.
are brain dead.
Like,
We've been at this for an hour and a half, Wiggles. Are you brain dead or what? The top's got a bigger angle than the bottom.
well, like we're... I don't know, I'm just drawing out like the angles, I guess. Of roughly the same.
Was there something wrong with my explanation?
Yeah, and it, oh yeah.
Okay, let
Why-
me help
why are we
Wiggles
needing
here.
to draw
Wiggles
anything?
is real familiar with math. Okay, let me help Wiggles out. Wiggles,
Okay,
just like
plain truth.
this is unorthodox. So, like just like when you take an integral, you add up all the little tiny infinitesimal rectangles to get underneath the curve. The area under the curve. They're kind of saying the same thing here. They're kind of saying if you add a bunch of little bitty things together, you end up getting something big. So,
Hey,
it's-
Zinder.
so you can kind of relate it to like integration, under a curve.
When you're done with your word salad. Hi, Zinder.
Hello.
Yeah, I know calculus. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty
You
good at calculus.
That's what I'm saying. That I kind of relate this to calculus because it's the same thing. They're saying you can add a lot of really tiny things to get a big thing, and that's what you kind of do with calculus. You add a bunch of little rectangles underneath the curve to get an area underneath the curve. So that's kind of what they're saying here.
No, I'm not saying any such thing. I'm saying
Yes,
the
you
bottom-
are. You're saying there's a bunch of tiny little pieces that add up to a larger piece. I'm helping you out.
No,
Nathan.
that's what you made up on the spot.
Yeah, that's just a load of word salad. So I was quite concise. The bottom angle is smaller than the top angle.
Well, we can calculate that. We can do the geometry of that and see.
That's nice. Shame you don't do it in your earth maths.
So
Wiggles.
Yeah.
I can show you another example, and with a website where you can put in the angles, you can even see the degrees, right? If you want. Let's see. Let me screen share for a moment. Here I drew a little house, right?
Okay.
And then I'm going to take the line and make it like parallel to here, right? And then you can say, all right, here are a lot of people, and you can say the whole house can only be seen from the right to the left side, right? So let's say here is the first observer, right? This is his This is his angle, right? Then I don't know if Nathan meant that when he explained it yesterday to you, but here is like his angle is 7%, like 7 degrees.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So obviously, if the observer at the bottom, let's say here, I guess he will have a bigger angle, right? Because 9 degree, right? And do you guys understand why he has a bigger angle when he is at the bottom to the building than when he is at the top?
Well, I mean, you could just calculate it using like some trigonometry and.
Yeah. So what I didn't understand from Nathan's explanation is how did the angle of the top of the square, how did it matter, right?
It was too small from one angle.
So let's take another. Let's only try to look at the roof, right? When I try to look at the roof, I get an angle of 4 degrees here. Right, I can even put it a little bit. Then up here is 3 degrees. And the higher you go, the lower your angle gets.
And what about if you go below the roof?
Here you get 3 degrees too.
Really?
Then,
hold on, sorry. So less?
Yeah, like 3 degrees.
Oh, right,
here,
so completely in line with my point then.
Here is 4 degrees.
So if you did it above the roof, so if you do it with 20-foot men, you can get it to get bigger. That's amazing, Cinder. So below, it went down.
So the roof will disappear first, and then the whole building, the higher, the more distant you go, or what?
No. The bottom of that building has always got a smaller angle than the top of it. So I don't know, for a start, why we're in perspective exclusive Muppet vision. So we're inside profile where perspective is completely excluded. But there we go, that's what we're in. Like yesterday, I've got to fight against a perspective exclusive view for some reason. But, you know, I don't mind.
It's just the idea, I mean, just to,
okay, well,
so you can
no
explain
problem.
it better.
Do you want to get a... I can try and take you through it the same as I did yesterday. Let's get rid of this and start with something tiny. And make the whole page the equivalent of 30 miles. And then draw the same house.
Farther away it becomes, the smaller the angle.
So let's draw a line. Get rid of all of everything that's on. Draw a horizontal line across the entire page.
Let me. It's faster.
So along the bottom third, line. There you go. Just a nice horizontal line
throughout the entire page.
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay.
Then draw a box at the far left-hand side. Couple of centimeters. There you go. Perfect.
It isn't completely 90 degrees at angles, but I think it's all right. Yeah.
Sure. Now go to the far right hand side.
Yeah.
And then go up a little bit further.
Like here.
Yeah,
right.
That'll do.
Then here.
Well, let's just pick, I don't know, the bottom third of the box. No, you've drawn. You're getting ahead of me. Yeah. So let's just draw that same line to the bottom third.
Yeah, and then we can see.
No. Right? You're getting ahead of me again, Zinder.
Oh, okay.
So let's just get rid of both of those lines, and we'll start again.
Wait a moment.
So let's just draw 2 lines from the higher observer.
From here.
Yeah, that'll do. To the bottom quarter of the box.
Like here.
Yeah, that'll do. Then draw another line to the bottom of it, right to the bottom.
All right.
There we go. That's perfect. Now do the same for a dot that's literally on the ground.
Yeah.
I think he can actually just drag the dot.
Yeah, I can drag it later. Right. I can put it the angle here, if you want. At like 1 degree, but it's so the problem is, you know, when I put it then at the bottom, the program doesn't recognize the difference, but I think we can see it by eye, don't we?
We'll make the box taller, and then you'll get more significant figures on the degree measurement.
Yeah.
Arlen, check your Flat Earth early bird Skype.
Slice Arcane was arguing that this is actually the opposite of what happens, that the angle gets wider.
So here at the top, we have 2 degrees. And when we put it at the bottom, we have 2 degrees.
Oh, you're going to need to make the box bigger, probably, then.
Yeah.
So we're now basically on top of this box. So it's no longer my example of it being massively in the distance. We're now right next to it.
That's the problem. I think we need another program. It isn't good enough. This one isn't good for the illustration.
Really?
So,
okay, well let's try something else. So no problem. Just if you can keep your box to where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Biggest.
Yeah. So then take your dot to the top. So get rid of the 2 lines, the 2 vision lines.
Yeah. So where do you want
and
the
then
line?
start on the far right.
Here.
Yeah.
Like the angle.
Yeah. And
like
then just draw a line out to your observer. There you go. That'll do, up there. And then go back again to the left-hand side of the top of the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So now you're looking at this, if you can, now on the top of the box, in the middle of the box, hold on, just one more thing. So if you can just draw on the top of the box, like a little tiny curve of some description.
A little curve?
Yeah, just here, just like that, just so there's a landmark of some description.
Oh, like, I think it's the only thing I could do
just
is
a
like
dot, literally just a dot.
Circle. Oh, just
That'll
a dot,
do.
alright.
That'll do. Then just move it so it's inside the vision.
I can put here is a point, right?
Or just bend the curved line up a bit, if you like. Whatever, just so there's some topography.
I didn't use the program to, like, I just use it for a few minutes.
To be honest, I don't need this. It's superfluous to a requirement.
Take an arc.
Well, it's more so that the top of the box has just got some topology on it, but I wanted the flat line with just a little dot on it or something, just to represent a tree. But just move it down, move your curve down so it's within. Yeah. There we go. So it's just.
Yes.
Okay. There you go. So now what you're looking at is something in the very far distance. Let's say an island in the distance from up a cliff, for example. Yeah?
Yeah.
So you're looking across at the island from up high and looking down on the island that's in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? You can see the front of the island and the back of the island. We're all in agreement?
Yeah, you can see everything.
Right. And now, lower your position.
Yeah, and now the back of the island starts to disappear. Right?
Oh, really? So it's getting smaller and smaller.
Curvature.
What's happening to the angle to this island? What's happening to the angle?
It gets smaller, obviously.
That seems to be very different to how you represented it earlier. So we've come down from the cliff, and the angle to the island in the distance has got smaller. Right, Linda?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The angle got smaller.
But you represented it. So what happens if you got right down to the same level as the island? Let's see what happens then. the angle's basically gone to nothing, Zero. Nothing, completely gone. Right, Cinder?
Yes.
Okay. So as you raise and lower your position, the angle gets smaller. So we've now come to the same exact conclusion as we came to yesterday.
So I'm going to show you.
No. Just before you change anything, Cinder, just take your right-hand position and raise it again, nice and high, really high. Right. So that's a nice wide angle. Now get closer to the thing you're looking at. No, from up high. From up high, get really close. What's happening to the angle now? What's happening to the angle now, Zinder?
It increases. The closer you get
So you're saying as you get closer to something, its angle increases?
Of course.
And now what happens when you get further away from it, Zinder? What happens when you get further away from this island?
It decreases.
Really? So we've got to the exact same conclusion as yesterday. Isn't that amazing?
What I wanted to show you is when I'm here at this distance, right?
At a great distance with a really limited angle to something. Okay, yeah, right, with stuff disappearing bottom first. So we're at the position now where you're on the far right with the most limited of angle to this thing you're looking at in the distance, correct?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
so stuff's disappearing bottom first. So from this point,
right?
Zinder, from this point, stuff's disappearing bottom first then. We all concede that, right? Because of the angle.
I don't think so, because...
Oh, well, angle's got everything to do with resolution as you delete the angle I've just drawn for you. So everything to do with resolution, Zinder.
Because the angle
large structures.
The angle will be to the place that is the most, that is the highest then. Because
right. So you're saying no, okay, island, no problem, Zinder, no problem. No problem, Zinder. Now draw a triangle. Keep everything as it is, and draw a triangle on top of this. On the box, draw a triangle on top of it. So we're at the stage where this bottom section is gone to limited angle. Now go back to your dot on the right and draw an angle to the top of the mountain. Just do it, Zinder. Don't be a weasel. Just do it. Draw an angle to the top of the mountain. We're already at the point where the bottom stuff's gone. Now draw an angle to the mountain. Don't move it. Just draw it. Why are you being a weasel? There you go. Is that angle to the top of the mountain bigger or smaller than the angle to the bottom of it, Zinder?
It is bigger.
Now pick your little dot up on the right and go right next to it. And let's see what happens to these two angles.
When I go next to it...
Oh, well, look at that! Obviously. Oh, the angular relationship changes completely, doesn't it?
So let me...
Hold on, Zinder, we've got one more demonstration to do. Yeah, go up high.
This is kind of...
Shut up. This is your religious belief being destroyed, Zinder. So let's go up. So, oh, look at that. The bottom stuff's now got a much wider angle, Zinder, from up high. So this explains why Zinder's island disappeared as he lowered. Because the bottom of that low island in the distance that was already small from up top on the cliff got smaller. The angle decreased as he lowered. Isn't that amazing? Thank you, Zinder. Much better than even I could do.
This is pointless. Can I do my gravity demonstration, guys? I don't mean to be rude, but
no,
you know,
no, we haven't had any concessions. You want to shut up? No, shut up. We haven't had a single concession from Zinder or Wiggles. You've had a very good, by my opponent, demonstration in perspective exclusive Muppet vision. I got criticised yesterday by Martin D, whatever he's called, for me not doing a good example. I'm just going to say it again. I didn't do this. Zinder, my opponent, ballhead tard, did this demonstration to make my point for me. Frankly, I think I've worked a bloody miracle.
Nathan, I think you think something like amazing's happened here. I don't think that's correct.
Oh, right, you're going to try and demean my point, are you? Well, you can piss off then. Get out. Let's hear some concessions. Zinder and Wiggles. The angle gets smaller to the bottom of stuff as you lower, doesn't it, Wiggles? This is your island point from yesterday.
Well, we haven't drawn a faithful geometric model of the situation.
We're not in a faithful model. We're in Muppet Vision, side view, that Zinder decided to put us in for some reason. I've worked with your graphical misrepresentation of what we see. This dot on the right-hand side represents the side of my own bloody head, Wiggles. So we're definitely in any sort of accurate representation. Your teammate has put us in Muppet Vision. So yeah, I've worked with your misrepresentation, and I have managed to get to the point where as we lower this dot on the right-hand side, the bottom of your island in the distance in Muppet Vision does get smaller, the angle. So the bottom's going to get a limited angle before the top, the mountain that was now erased by Zinder, because it doesn't fit the religious belief. So we've got rid of both the top angle that got wider and the mountain in my example, because that's what I'm working with. People that don't like my points and want to erase them as soon as they're made. But it's all been dedicated to camera already. Jolly good, Zinder, my opponent, for making my point with these angles. Thank you.
I wanted you to explain it to me why you think that's that way, and I'm glad you explained it to me.
Good. Now I want Wiggles. I understand you get it, Wiggles. Zinder. I want Wiggles, who asserted, like a circle-jerking asshole indefinitely, that lowering his position wouldn't change the mountain in the distance and whether or not you could see it. So now I want him to concede it, now that he's had it in Muppet vision, from someone much better than himself at drawing stuff.
Well, if Zinder could maybe draw an angle, like, because really I'm looking at the front of the island, so if maybe Zinder could, like, draw a point somewhere on the right, maybe.
You are drawing the front of it. That's why I got him to raise it. See that bulge? That's the front of the island.
Well, that would be the top, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
sorry, he's now messing with it. Look, there you go. That bulge was the front of the island. Now, if you put a mountain on top of it, like I asked before, we could have other topographical features to draw another angle from your eye and watch again how the angles change, Wiggles. So, did you not watch a moment ago?
Yeah, I was watching. But,
right, so you saw that the angle got smaller as he lowered to the front edge of the bottom of the island in the distance. Did you not watch, or did you not understand?
Well, we have to be careful, dude. Does that
Don't tell me what we need to do. You've just had it presented.
Situation?
I need you to tell me if you understood or not.
The diagram we drew didn't really represent the situation.
No shit. It's in Muppet Vision. Did I put it in Muppet Vision? No, Zinder did. We don't see the side of our own heads. Do you get that, Wiggles? We don't see orthographic representations. I don't see lines between my eyes and an island. You guys like to put it in Muppet Vision because it removes perspective. But I can still use your Muppet Vision to make my point. And I have. Now I want you to concede it. The bottom edge of this island will disappear because the angle will get too small as you lower. It's been demonstrated in Muppet Vision by my opponent to you.
Well, this is just an aside, but Muppet Vision is the same thing that engineers use to draw schematics of like bridges and stuff. But that's
We're not drawing schematics. We're looking at stuff. Yeah, we're looking at an island in the distance in your picture. Are we making a schematic of that island, Muppet? That's why I call it Muppet Vision. Schematics isn't what we're doing. We're taking pictures, not making bridges. Looking, not building. So, in Muppet Vision, the bottom angle of the island gets smaller when you lower.
Well, I wonder, Zinder, would you be able to draw...
Why aren't you saying yes? That's what's just been demonstrated. Another circle-jerking religious zealot moment from Wiggles. So basically, Wiggles, you can't concede this. Your cognition will not allow it. It's been demonstrated at length, at nausea. It's been detailed at length, at nausea. You've had it shown to you in Muppet Vision, your favourite kind of style of representation. Now you need to concede.
Well, Zinder, you're still there?
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, would you be able to like draw like a point and then like with a line to the top right point and to the top or to the bottom right point? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, go back to the first misrepresentation that was used in Muppet Vision, you mean?
Like this one and
sorry, so go back. This has already been done.
Yeah, to create.
Yeah, it's already been done. It was the first thing done. We've already done this.
Yeah, and then just measure the angle from. I think you know what angle. Yeah, that angle.
Can you two?
So now just raise the point up and down in a horizontal line.
Horizontal.
Yeah.
Or vertical, you mean?
Vertical, I mean, yes. Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
So it's like 17, 16, 16, and then when you lower it, the angle actually gets a bit bigger.
Yeah, but you're right next to it. You're right next to the building. This would be a bit like you standing next to the CN Tower, wouldn't it? In this depiction, you're right next to this building. Your dot is tiny. You've got a flea next to a skyscraper.
So, I mean, I get what you are saying with the building, and when you look at it from the side, and when you are far away enough, you can only see one side of the building, right? One of the four sides. And now when you it gets to 6 degrees, and then we will get to 5 degrees, etc., right? So the angle only matter to the points that you can actually see, right? The invisible part doesn't matter anymore. The part that you couldn't see anyway.
Sorry, the bit that's vanished because of an angular size limitation at distance. That doesn't matter.
No, the thing that are blocked anyway by your side. Like when you look at the building, you can only see at a certain distance. You can only see one wall, right? If you are standing that way, that you are in the, let's say, area that would cover you when you would imagine an imaginary line from you to the building.
That's nonsense. That's nonsense. From this position where you have drawn now, you're telling me you can't see the roof? You can't see the roof.
Obviously, you can see the roof, but
well, why have you excluded it then? So if you were to actually, rather than draw it on the front edge of the wall, why do you keep making it bigger, Zinder? It seems like you need us to do. This is the misrepresentation that you guys do. So when when Wiggles does his blink test, he's got an angle that's right next to the building, which is what you've just drawn. You're now right next to the house. Yeah? It's not 30 miles in the distance anymore. We're right next to it, with you measuring the angles as you raise and lower right next to something.
So, all right. Then when the building is higher than you will ever be able to get, let's say the building is 400 meters high, and you look at the building from sea level, and then you rise up to 200, so let's say 200 meters. You will never be able to see the roof, right, of the building. So now that you gave your explanation, I'm not making any point here. Now that you gave your explanation, I can try to 3D model the building and the observer and look at the angles. Then I can compare it to what is seen in real life. So that's great. Now you gave us the information we need to try to model it out.
But I've already explained it at great detail. So when you had your, I'll snip it out. You know, when you've got your, admittedly, for some reason, we're looking across a plane that's in the air because you don't want to draw the horizon realistically as I wanted it. You wanted to draw a great big box. So I then have to go to the roof of that box to bring the scale back down again. You know, I'm fighting against Muppet Vision here.
Muppet Vision wasn't to point anything out. It was just for you to explain it in greater detail.
Yeah, well, I tried to get you to draw it, a line with a tiny dot on it at the end of it. Like some topography. I've did it. You know, the only thing that I would have done is actually have a line running along where we were looking, the angle that we were looking along. But you want to draw a massive box, so you've got virtually no angle whatsoever to manipulate because you've got no distance. Nothing's going into the angular resolution limit when you're drawing massive angles. Yeah?
Obviously,
we're talking about 0.2 of a degree. And below, you've got a chance of it disappearing to the angular resolution. And you're saying, well, here's 3 degrees, 4 degrees. Oh, right. So none of this is disappearing then to angular size limitations in your examples as you move up and down a building that you're right next to, in your example, in Muppet Vision.
No, I drew the tower to illustrate Wiggles' point. And
right, but then you drew your angles. Then you excluded the roof.
Well, the roof won't be.
Yeah, you drew your angles to the front edge of the front wall. You drew your angles to the front edge of the front wall, and then if you include the back of the building, which you can see when you're higher, and then you lower, you find that the roof gets more and more compressed, narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower, until eventually it disappears. It's too small an angle. Now I have to do it with the roof in Muppet Vision because that's what I have to work with when I'm being hijacked in perspective exclusive vision and told that this is how we build stuff, even though we don't see that way.
Well, when we look at a let's say 400-meter tower, they usually have a kind of flat roof, don't they? The skyscraper. So when you look at them from the ground, you won't be able to see the roof anyway. So what's the point with the roof? The roof will not be visible if you are below the highest point of the tower. You won't be able to see the roof.
The roof is analogous to the plane that you are looking over. I have to try and figure out a way in your perspective exclusive side elevation of demonstrating the angle that you are looking over as you lower your position. Well, that's really difficult to do.
Yeah, I get your point now, and as I said, I will try to do it in a 3D modeling program that includes perspective, because obviously side view isn't always representing reality. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, of course. So yeah, I think we should keep it that way now, and we should look at it again when we have a better tool to draw those things.
Excellent. And with that, I will say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!